Shefsky here. Welcome to Fantasy House. Hey, did you enjoy MTV Cribs? Did you like HGTV, but you're like, hey, I need some more HGTV and LSD? Okay, then you're going to love this podcast. It's basically MTV Cribs on a little bit of just a healthy dose of magic mushrooms. Nothing like too intense, right? Every week, my special guest walks us through their imaginary fantasy house. There's no limits on money or technology. Like, they invent a lot of stuff just to have. If they have a problem, they just invent a way around it. It's really fun, and they come up with like insane stuff. So it's great. This week, my guest is one of my good friends and a hilarious comedian, Jon Huck. Do you like glass bottom boats, and do you like traveling, being able to go anywhere, like even to the moon? You like being able to take a dump while looking at a thresher shark swim by you? Huh? A puffer fish while you're making a pooper fish? Then this episode is for you. So excited. This episode is brought to you by A Piece That Remains, which is an amazing little company that takes loved ones' ashes and puts them into paintings. Hit up Dee. She will customize a painting for you and immortalize your grandfather, and you can hang him up in your wood shop and think of him all the time when you look at your trippy painting. Hit her up at apiecethatremains.com. It's brought to you by C3 Risk and Insurance Services. Joe Erle, C3 Risk and Insurance Services. Everyone needs insurance. We all know that. So just go to someone that you can trust. It's going to get you the best deal. That's Joe Erle at C3 Risk and Insurance Services.com. Hit him up. If you get a policy with Joe, you get $25 to Amazon.com. And I'll tell you later in the episode where you can actually use that $25. I think somewhere that you can use it really well. It'll be good. It's also brought to you by hearthandmade.co.uk. My friend Claire, who's a listener to Fantasy House and just an awesome person, she helps organize people and get them on like a really good workflow so they can stay organized and actually enjoy their life and not just spend every waking second working. She's killer. You got to talk to her. So hit her up at hearthandmade.co.uk. And this podcast is also brought to you by me, Jon Shefsky, or when I wear a dress, Jon Shefsky. If you'd like me to help you buy your fantasy house or even just a 2-bedroom in Glendale, I'm your Southern California realtor. I'd love to work with you. So send me an email at fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com. I'll help you buy or sell whatever you want, or even just answer questions if you're like, how do you buy or sell, John? I'll explain it, and we'll have fun. Maybe we'll eat sushi while we talk about it. All right, guys. Now, in the words of the great Angelo Bowers, let us do this!
Won't you take it all around the tour of your fantasy house? You're the hostess with the most experience in your fantasy house. You're only money for expensive construction. The only limit is your imagination.
You ever been to Wisconsin Dells?
No.
Or like New Orleans, I guess, has them. I've seen them in Nashville even, but they're called ducks, but they're used for tours, but they're basically trucks. They can drive on the land and then they can go into the water.
Oh, yeah.
They're amphibious trucks or whatever they're called. Yeah, I'm sure they were military grade, and then these were like leftover pieces of garbage that Wisconsin Dells were, hey, we give tours.
Yeah. They went from terrorism to tourism.
Yeah, but that style of like a more advanced version of that would be basically the base of the house. Do you know what I mean? It would be able to drive on land, low impact. It would be able to go. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't be crushing trees or whatever like that. You know what I mean?
Very kind of you.
It would be low impact, but would have like a tank tread or some kind of like tread, so any terrain wouldn't be a problem. And then also it would have legs that could, in fact, plant themselves into the ground, kind of come off the base. And then if I was going to stay in an area for a little bit, that at least would be solid, so I wouldn't have to worry about it.
People could come in there and be like, I'm nervous. This thing is so agile. It can move around. Are we staying put? And you'd be like, yeah,
well,
check this out.
People wouldn't think it felt agile. You know what I mean? It would feel worthwhile. It would feel substantial,
Nice.
Yeah.
What color is it? What's it look like?
It's a lot of glass, probably. I'm going with like the plot of land would be on top of these treads, and I don't know like officially how big I would want it, but I would like it big enough that a couple people could live on it and not necessarily have to run into each other all the time. You know what I mean? And not feel like they were suffocating. So,
So you have fantasy house roommates?
well, I mean, my wife would be with me probably.
Yeah.
I mean, in my fantasy house, and then if it was big enough, like if I could section it off enough, I would want my brother and his family there, and and maybe that's about it. Maybe a couple other people, but yeah, I think it would be a lot of glass. I mean, color wise, like I really like the color blue, so it would be some sort of combination of like glass, like cement, concrete, blue, maybe blue glass, maybe.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Blue glass. I haven't even heard that one yet. It's very Breaking Bad meth of you.
I would just repress all the meth they made in New Mexico into its own blue glass. A house made of meth. I don't
Dude,
want that.
That's a great Discovery Channel show, Meth Recyclers.
What do we do? What are we going to do with all this meth? Well, we could smoke it, or they just start smoking it, and then they're like, "Oh my God, we could flatten this out."
Why don't we
Put
smoke
on
it and? You guys have always been smoking it or. I'm like, let's smoke it and.
We could smoke while we make this glass, guys. Yeah. So I mean, color is not as important to me. You know what I would actually want? I would actually want it to be some sort of a camouflage where. Like a cloak, it could put a cloaking device on it, so that if I were in the woods and you were flying over or walking by, you might not see it.
But you'd see the 3 red laser triangle coming off of it.
The what?
That was a Predator reference.
Oh, no! I wouldn't be attacking people or skinning them or ripping their spines from their body just yet at
Okay.
this point. But I would want to be. I would want privacy, no matter where I was. I would want to. Like, I would want the inside to feel spacious and everything, but then I would want people from the outside to be like, I don't say anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it would be cloaked. So, yeah.
The cloak.
Yeah, so no color, just cloaking.
A house cloak.
A house cloak.
But if you did want to show it off, it'd be blue.
Yeah, if I was like, my friends were coming over like, hey, man, you got to uncloak the house. How am I going to find it? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, just look for the blue glass.
That becomes a common thing because of the times you forgot to uncloak it. You're like, hey, and
How come no one's showing up to this party? Did you uncloak the house? Oh, damn it.
And then when your friend's coming back to visit you like a few years later, they're like, I'll be there like in an hour. Could you go ahead and before I get there, just uncloak it?
Yeah.
So I just know where it's at.
Don't wait. And also, like, it's the house would change locations all the time, so that they always have to call and get my address and find out where I was.
So what happens like when I come to the front door of this decloaked house?
Oh, the decloaked house? Well,
Yeah.
then you're expected. You're
Yep.
a guest. And I mean, it's pretty simple. There would be a bell either in the door or some sort of ringing device to let us know that you are out front. And then you would be let in, just like a regular house, nothing too fancy. I don't need. I would stay away from automatic doors and stuff that can break down like that and then either need fixing or be very hard to replace or have to worry about.
Yeah.
Because in my fantasy, I have to worry about chores. And,
Yeah, you don't want
and
chores.
fixing things.
No fantasy chores, please. Sadistic.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I don't trust automatic things anyway. You know what I mean? If you can do it manually, do it. That's my theory.
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
can I get a Bentley but with like windows that I have to roll myself?
I wouldn't.
Do they have that?
I wouldn't be pissed at that. I wouldn't because I mean, eventually that's what goes first on a car is like the electronics in there.
Oh, yeah.
The windows.
I'm dealing with that right now with my the charger for my phone thing. The
Yeah.
actual port itself is like not being friendly anymore.
And then all they say is, "Oh yeah, you just widened it out or whatever," and you're like, "Well, what? I didn't know that was a thing."
yeah. And then they go, well, what do I do? They're like, get a new car.
Well, you can either
but
get
the
a new car,
works.
or how much is it worth? Because for three times that, we could rip the front off and then replace all the electronics inside.
Ugh, gross. And then the other thing is, well, just get a new iPhone. The battery lasts long. I'm like, can anyone just tell me a free solution with the stuff that I have that requires no time at all?
No.
And that's impossible, right?
No, you're asking for literally the definition of impossible.
It's a whole nother. It's a podcast called Fantasy Maintenance.
Yeah.
And it's, you just go,
I still want to fix it myself, but can I just find a process that makes it that much easier?
I don't have to do anything. It's free. I just thought it and it's done. Does that exist?
Can we just make that happen?
That doesn't exist. Your world is hell. Okay, so if you come and get me at the door,
Yeah.
let me in. What's that entrance hall gonna feel like when I come in?
It's not going to be a hall so much. It'd be pretty much open. You walk in and it would be a living room, you
Yeah.
know, mostly think of it kind of, it's in a pyramid shape technically.
Okay.
The whole thing would be, you'd have the treads, the base, in the base would be like your water supplies and everything that you could restore and refill, and all the fluids and everything you would need to keep things warm and cool and hot and whatever. And then over that, just the flooring, which would be insulated, but also probably a nice smooth wood. Yeah, easy to sweep up, but also feels nice on the feet.
Is it dark wood or light wood? Like, what's the tone?
I like the lighter wood just because it's easier to see what. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but when you're cleaning, it's easier to see.
Yeah, that's practical.
Plus, I don't know. It makes the room a little bit lighter. Like I feel like the dark wood would be like somebody like people who have libraries in their house. Like, ooh, here's my library. Here's my reading room.
That's my favorite room to think of when we say like dark, like what is it, oak, like dark stained.
Well, I
oak.
wouldn't even know what kind it is. I mean,
But like dark stained wood.
Yeah,
like it feels like, oh, okay, so we're talking about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Grandpa's old study.
Conservatory. Yeah.
Totally. There's a stuffed human and books that you didn't even know. Like, was there a publisher? Nope.
And there's always a secret bookshelf.
Oh yeah, you got to pull one out so you can get into the other room.
Yeah,
Grandpa's S&M.
So it's just
festival.
a weird stack of like old Playboys. You're like, oh, this is it. Like,
Yeah, it's 2019, Grandpa.
God,
This doesn't turn me
Grandpa,
on.
This does nothing.
I need access to 400,000 videos right now, or I'm not gonna blow. Grandpa's old scary room, and then he's like, "Oh no, there's another room over here." You're like, "Oh, you didn't
And
right."
then that's just a glory hole room, and you're like, I didn't need to hear this or see this or be around this.
That'd be funny if you were rich and like that was truly your fetish was glory holes, but because you like had an experience in a truck stall somewhere once, so you have like a disgusting like graffitied up like
I just have a
bathroom stall.
glory hole bathroom.
Yeah,
no.
just in a dungeon in your house.
Nah, yeah, I wouldn't want that.
I just want to relive that every day of my life.
Oh, no.
Nope.
No, not for me.
Oh, dude.
Were you checking the levels?
I'm checking the levels, making sure this sound is.
For those of you
sounding good.
listening, that's the technical aspect of podcasting.
That's right. I'm kind of an engineer right now.
Whew.
I checked the level. All right. Okay, so I said queso. Cheese. Okay, so yeah, you got this nice light wood flooring.
Yeah, sorry, the living room. You walk in.
Pyramid shape.
Well, it's pyramid shape, but it would feel like the living room would feel very kind of almost like a giant square.
Yeah.
Whereas it would be glassed off. You'd be able to see out, no problem. Even when the house was cloaked, you'd be able to see out.
Yeah. Essential. That's essential.
Yeah, and that's what I like about that is that I would only park my house things I wanted to look at, like a mountain range or like a forest or a waterfall or like there's also something to be said for just kind of floating around in the ocean. You know what I mean?
Tell my friend who's a jellyfish about that. You're right. There really
which is also something I would definitely do with the house would be
Yeah.
to move it out to sea, and then I'd be looking at the shore of Singapore or the shore of somewhere that would all lit up. Something I was enjoying the view.
Yeah.
So that would the living room would always be looking at something that was like, yeah, we'd have TV in there, but you'd also be like, wow, this is actually really nice. I could just look at this all day.
Yeah, just chill out, have a coffee, and just watch the
Yeah.
outer surroundings.
Yeah.
Are you the captain or somebody else? Do you tell somebody else like, hey, take us over to this? You said shore of Singapore.
Yeah, I think in a perfect fantasy, I wouldn't want a captain. I would want it. I know I say I don't want anything automated, then I say I'd want it voice activated, but I would want to be in control of it.
Okay.
It would be easy to drive.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be too complicated. And part of the experience would be the journey. Do you know what I mean? You're in the house. If you're like, we've been in this mountain range for a week now. It's great, but also, there's some crazy things happening in Australia, and we could take a look at those. So then the journey to Australia is part of the fun.
It's beautiful. But do you like traveling in real life?
Yeah, I do. And it's interesting. I used to have a lot of problems with flying and just being frustrated and enraged by every little thing that went wrong, which was like everything. Do you know what I mean? Like traveling is never easy.
Yep.
And I've gotten to a place, and I think probably my wife has helped, but I've gotten to a place now I can take a Spirit airline flight for $60 to Chicago with just a little backpack, and nothing phases me. But when I do get on like a JetBlue flight, I'm like, oh, this is a spa. So I might as well. I really enjoy it. But like, I'm fine with. I'm real smooth at airports. I just go with what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't fight against it anymore.
You don't let the anxiousness take over.
No,
All right, I'm
I
just
don't.
here. I'm here in the moment.
And honestly, I do think in my head every time I get on a plane, it's going to go down. I have.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I have a tweet scheduled to go out after my plane would crash all the time.
Oh, dude.
And yeah, I do. I think that I try to put some stuff in order before I leave.
Make sure the trust is
which has been a
notarized.
lot lately. Which has been a lot. I've been on the road a lot, so I'm like, every time I'm like, okay, just make sure that don't leave a mess. You know what I
Tell
mean?
my loved ones I love them before I go flying with the natural animals that are supposed to fly.
Right. But I also traveling in general, like I do like going to new places and checking stuff out, and it's interesting. You know, I feel like I had friends that were like that rubbed off on me, and my dad was kind of he traveled the world a little bit, you know, and my mom still to this day goes to Europe to go on river cruises and shit. Like it's fun, you know what I mean? Like it's a good time.
I love it too. It's like
it's a great education because even when you're angry at something or a situation when you're traveling, you're like still learning from it.
I'm gonna go have a baguette somewhere that I haven't had a baguette. You know what I mean? Like how mad can I be? Gonna have to try some new pasta.
Well, I would say like don't go to McDonald's if you're in Italy. You know what I mean? Like don't do anything stupid like that.
That'd be a great title of a book. I could see that being a bestseller.
Don't go to McDonald's when you're in Italy.
Yeah. One of the Sedaris family members will write that book.
Ooh,
right? They always have like real regular titles, just excerpted out of a regular like sentence. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what a killer book. Don't go to McDonald's if you're in Italy. He did it again. Bestseller.
Wow, you sound like everyone who's read those books.
I've read a few of them. What is it? When you're in flames or whatever? That was a good one.
David Sedaris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I say one of the Sedaris because I think Amy also writes books.
She does, but he's the
he's the
more
author,
famous
too.
writer.
Yes.
Writer.
He's a writer?
He's a writer.
And you're a pronouncer?
I'm a pronouncer.
He's a writer.
That's my specialty.
And I'm a spoiler. I mean speller. A spaller. Okay, so where's the restroom in this puppy for the guests? The guest restroom.
The guest bathroom would be off the living room, you know, but that would be glass bottomed.
Nice.
And like glass but angled so that only like no one could see you, but
thank you.
You could see the view. You know what I mean? Which is I went to a wedding in Big Sur last year, and I was like, "Where's the restroom?" You know, because we got bussed up to where they had the wedding and the reception. They had no cell phone reception. We had to like unpack our bags and then get on a bus and then be all dressed up, take a 2-hour bus ride up to this thing, and then we were gonna have to take a 2-hour bus ride back down. But like, we were overlooking all this, you know, beauty in California, and I was like, "Where's the bathroom?" And like, "Oh, the bathroom is great." And I'm like, "Okay," and it was. It is from the outside. It's a shack, nicely painted, but it's like a shack. It's like a little shed.
Yeah.
And you go in, and literally the toilet was like there was like a wood. It was all wood, but there was like an open window right here next to the toilet that just looked out. Like you couldn't see in from the party, but it was angled perfectly so that you could look out at this crazy view while you were like sitting on the toilet. It was that's where I got that idea. I was like, oh, I want this. Like I want this for sure. Like when you're sitting on a toilet, and if you could look down, if you're in the ocean, this is also specifically for the ocean, the glass bottom with like, you could just watch wildlife and stuff while you're sitting there taking a Duke in the morning, you know, watch fish swim. It'd be very relaxing.
That would be a nice way to wake up.
Yeah, and then just out, you know, you can watch the sunrise and you know, it'd be.
I love it
because I'm regular, man. I'm taking a shit every day at about 6:30. So.
Oh yeah, please let's keep it regular, keep it healthy,
please
keep those movements going, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have a shower in there and a bath or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It would be an all encompassing, like whatever you were into at that time. Like it could convert into a bathtub. It could be just a shower. It could come from above. It could shoot out the sides. Like water would be wherever you needed it because. For a lot of the time, we'd be in the ocean, and I would have definitely a sort of large or semi-large machine that would take salt water and convert it to fresh water. And then that fresh water would be what we would bathe and drink, and it would be pure and clean because it would be filtered.
Sounds like a plan. As long as you change the filter up, we'll be good.
That's a lifelong filter, dude. I don't want to be changing the fucking filter.
Again, fantasy maintenance, dude. How long does it last? How long do you last? Whoa! cool filter,
Yeah,
man.
and I mean, granted, if we did this now, the filter would have another like 20 years on it, so that's
Yeah.
all I would need. I'll
Yeah.
be dead by then.
That is a very morbid way to move on to the next part. Let's take me to the morgue in your fantasy house. You fucking.
No, we just slide off a slide into the sea,
That's
dude.
hilarious. Did your funerals at sea? The reason I want this house is
Is
so
for
I
my death. No.
Well, it's a pyramid, so that's always a.
Well, I like the idea of a square. To me, if it was all square, it seems too much. But like a pyramid, and I'll be honest, I saw this on some of this on. There's a website called Waya WAYA.it, and it's an Italian website, Italian company. They make these things called UFOs, unidentified floating objects. I have been relatively obsessed with them for the last 2 years. I've emailed the company directly 5 or 6 times trying to figure out if they're actually in production, if they've been made, and if they'll ever be available in the United States. Because what it is, it's a straight up, it looks like if you removed it from the water, it would look like your stereotypical UFO. It's like a little bulb, like a ball in the middle, and then a ring around it.
Yeah.
Right? But if you put it in the water, the ring floats, okay? And then the ball is like you have the above the water part and then the below the water part.
Yeah.
So you walk, the ring is like almost like a track. Like if you wanted to exercise, you could run around this track.
Yeah.
And this thing floats around in the ocean. And you can connect to other UFOs. So if like you had one and I had one and we were out in the ocean and we were meeting up, we could connect ours, and you could connect like 5 or 6 of them and have a little ring. You could walk to and from all these. You could start your own, basically your own middle of the ocean community if you
And
wanted
people
to.
live in them, or are they?
Yeah, they have the below the. I would say a family of 4 probably max.
What?
You know what I
that
mean?
big that the.
Yeah, but you'd have. I would say if you could connect multiples, then yeah, that's how you'd want to do it. But also, they're trying to develop even more than these, which are like hotels and floating, like basically floating cities.
Yeah, that sounds rad.
It's pretty fucking cool. I spend a lot of time online basically looking at that, wondering when I would be able to either just take a tour of one, And right now it's all like electronic tours of like it's
digital
graphics
tour,
or digital. Yeah, it's digital, but it's graphics. It's not, you're not seeing the inside of a legitimate one.
Elon Musk has to invest in this and get one of them going.
I mean, he must know about it.
Yeah.
I can't see him not knowing about it, because if I know about it, I follow him on Instagram. They're Jet Capsule on Instagram, but they usually only show, they have these like kind of pod boats that are like big jet skis that like 4 or 5 or 8 people can fit in. You know what I mean? And those cruise around. So
You ever see those sharks and like dolphin boats that people have where they swim and they go under and over? Like they don't go deep underwater, but they like dunk. They go swoop, and then they jump out of the water. And they're like boat things. I don't know how to explain them.
No.
They're like little. They have like a little cockpit in them. So
wow.
So they're completely like enclosed, and it'll be on top of the water, like flying over the water, and then it'll just like the driver will jump it like over a wave, and then go and go under the water, and then it like surfaces again. It goes and jumps out, and they have like a little killer whale painted one. They have like shark ones.
I was gonna say it's very dolphin-esque.
It's pretty trippy, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm just like thinking it's the same
But
group of people.
you can't live in there.
No, not like your pod.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking it's the same kind of probably group. Like that's what I would imagine pulling out of the garage of your little UFO.
Yeah.
Going to work, honey.
That's exactly right.
true.
And in my house, I would have that. I would have like a little bit of a sort of a sea garage, or a garage that, again, could open onto land. That's the difference between my thing and the UFO, is that I would want to be able to go on land sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, this thing that looks like they're also creating hovercrafts that are sort of like this UFO. So if they can bring it to hover out of the water and then land somewhere, and then again, sticks come down, posts, jam it into the ground so it's sturdy. But like the bedroom is downstairs on these things, and it's basically a bed, a shower over here, and then like open glass, So like you could be just taking a nap, and then like a shark could go by. You know what I mean?
That
like,
sounds crazy.
It'd be pretty insane, right? Or you could be like banging your wife, and you could look over, and there could be like
a couple dolphins,
some
staring
dolphins
in.
smoking cigs, like staring at you,
being all
like,
perverted.
just like, yeah, slip of the tongue, bro. Like, dude, I don't like these dolphins. My guess is I would get curtains probably, if just in case.
Yeah, the pervy dolphins came by.
Because it would kind of be weird. Like, what if like scuba divers down there, like, oh, what's this? Like, I don't know. It'd be weird. I'm just paranoid that people
Just
are always watching me.
underwater peeping toms. Just like I look over.
Hey, we're in the middle of the ocean. Highly unlikely that anyone's going to swim by see your butt.
And then you and I go by, like with our driver's licenses. Hey, whoa.
Oh, what do we have here?
Totally worth the license fee. It's date night.
And the boat ride out to the middle of the ocean.
What other kind of rooms are should we go into? Where do you want to take me next?
Well,
You have a garage, right? You said you have a garage.
Well, yeah, we would have the garage would be
what's in that puppy?
It would be a couple of regular kind of jet skis, and then like the bigger jet capsules that were like more like family capsules that we could because you'd
family capsules.
'cause even if
listeners, you know what we're talking about family capsules.
and these
What, you been living under a rock, under a piece of coral.
and these would also go on land as well.
Okay.
Again, so they wouldn't be they don't need to be super cool looking, but they would get the job done. They'd be transporting me and whoever I was with, and it wouldn't be an issue. There'd probably be some self-driving in there as well, like self-driving vehicles, just for like
slowly getting into a little automation, are we, John?
I know.
You started off like, and I don't want any robots doing my bidding.
I know, and that it's I guess I should take that back then because I really do see it would be kind of nice to use some of that to my advantage.
It's I've been fighting it for years, and eventually you're just like, yeah, give me the VR experience. Hook my veins up to whatever pleasure drugs you say, Aldous Huxley. Yeah, you win.
That's what I worry about.
The future is robotic and it's not human. Go for it.
There's gonna be a lot of this taking brains out and keeping them alive in jars and just like.
Hey, as long as the jars are comfy, right? We'll do a fantasy jars episode.
Ooh.
Right? What would your jar be like for your brain?
It'd be more pickle juice.
Has anyone heard from John? He asked for pickle juice in his jar. Oh no!
He's done for.
Then you look over at the fat brain and it's like, did you eat John's brain? He's like, well, it was pickled.
And then the fat brain is dumber. And you're like, ooh, you did eat John's brain.
He caught whatever was in there. But I only added a little pickle juice to my jar. Okay, so you got regular family pod, regular CD.
Oh, yeah, in the garage? Yeah.
Do you have a regular car just in case you're on
land? Nah, we don't need that. These things, like I said, they drive on land. And they would be also electric or... battery powered. I wouldn't rely on gasoline.
I love that. Why?
Yeah.
It's like, why rely on gasoline anymore, right?
Well, because in the future it'll just be too hard to come by, I think.
Gasoline?
Yeah.
I hope so.
But if we're like, out in the water, we wouldn't need it. Again, ideally, I would know other people with houses like this, and we would kind of make our own community somewhere.
So you like the UFO style of linking up with the other ones?
I like that you can do it, yeah, or that you can be on your own. I do.
Well, that seems like a good balance, right?
Yeah, because look, like the family vacations are everyone bring their pod to these coordinates, and we link up, and then the kids can run around and play. And essentially, you could be outside. I mean, these things could have solar windmills on them. You know, solar powered. You could get all your power would be solar.
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, you're in the sun pretty much all day, and then it just fuels everything all night. So you'd run on solar power. These things go about 9 knots, which I don't know how fast that is, but that's all I read is 9 knots. My guess is like it's not faster than 25 miles an hour.
No,
would be
9
my
knots
guess.
would be. Aren't knots are more than miles, right? So if you have 9 knots, you'd be like going like 5 miles an hour.
Okay.
6 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's what I would.
Right?
That's what I would think they would do because
I forgot.
it's your whole house, and you.
Yeah.
But also, I wonder about the. I've always wondered about this. The ocean is violent.
Oh,
When you get way out there, like there are waves that like
Totally.
that don't make it to shore that you would never see as a regular human being.
Yep.
And yet they're like, yeah, you could drive around and live in this thing, and it's like, well, I would stay. Not maybe in the middle of the ocean.
You probably, you definitely have to be conscious of where you're going. If you're doing ocean stuff, you have to know the weather. You have to know.
Yes,
like, hey,
and
storms
again,
are coming, fellas. You might want to move on.
You would have all that data would be coming through in some sort of a system that would be, again, run on solar power and or satellites.
Okay. So
when those crash, you're definitely done.
I know how it's just a dependence on more stuff. They're like, as long as there's no solar flares.
I want to be able to roll my windows up on my own, but what about these satellites?
That's where we're heading, dude. We're heading to full dependency. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll have backup batteries or something like that. So everything's fine.
We'll have a generator for sure.
So what's the next room we should go to now?
I would have. I mean, I know I talk simplicity, but I would definitely have a viewing room, like a movie room. I mean, I would want to have. A nice sized movie screen. It doesn't need to be crazy, but like, bigger than a TV, and with the capability of showing kind of every style of everything. Like I want to be able to watch Laurel and Hardy films. I want to be able to watch, Empire Strikes Back Blu-ray. I want to be able to watch
Your own demo reel.
I want to be able to watch my first sets from the Ice House circa 2003 because they're real good. I want to be able to watch everything. All forms of media that we've kind of grown up with and known about in our lifetime. I would like to be able to then show those in their original forms on a screen with comfortable chairs, enough for anyone that might be over.
So essential, comfortable chairs.
Yeah, dude.
Like Lazy Boys, if we all had Lazy Boys.
With coolers in them.
Dude.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie?
No.
Oh, the Schlang chair.
No.
It's this like chair that you just you hook your veins up to it. It pumps like the emotion hormones into you, and it's just so silly. And it's got like a hot buttery popcorn maker that burns you, but you're comfy and you can see the movie just in full submissive form.
There you go.
Just to really take in that media.
Yeah, it's either that or you got to watch movies like Clockwork Orange with guys like eyes are plowed.
Oh, you mean being Clockwork Orange? Oh, yeah. I always wonder if we need that every now and then. I'm like, man, if we just
Maybe.
take, if someone's bad, instead of giving people the electric chairs, why don't we Clockwork Orange them with some Mr. Rogers for a couple weeks?
Mr. Rogers, or just make them listen to bad music if you could somehow keep their ears, just fucking keep that pumping in.
What would you play if you had a Clockwork Orange station in your house for emergencies?
To scare people?
Let's say you had someone bad on board, right? And you're far from shore. You have to have your own prison in the Jon Huck fantasy boat house. How do you Clockwork Orange them? What do you make them watch? What's that bad music?
I don't know if I'd make them watch anything. I would definitely not give them a view. They would not be able to see the ocean or the mountains.
That you don't get a view until you change your tune.
You don't get a view, and then I would, if you were every couple hours, I would pump because I did this happened to me at a comedy club. It was they were doing multiple shows in a night, and in between shows, people I knew were at these shows, and they would try to come and talk to me afterwards. But this club had a method of getting people to leave because they had to set up for the next show, which I can appreciate. They would just crank dubstep, super
Uncomfortably
insanely loud. It was fucking awful. At one point I go, dude, you're killing me with that. He goes, yeah, but people are leaving. I go, I'm leaving. I want to leave. It was just so bad. But I would do something like that just to be annoying. But after a while, I can't. First of all, prison is not. I don't see this being an issue.
Okay.
I would be out there with my wife, possibly my brother. Prison would be. I would just push my brother into the water, and if he was eaten by a shark, that's his.
That's what
punishment.
happened. That's what he did.
That's what
He did it
nature
to
wanted.
himself, yeah.
He did it to himself by being annoying. But yeah, I wouldn't. There'd be nobody to imprison. I mean, that would be my fantasy would be that we would all be getting along and not needing a prison system.
That was a test question, and I wanted to see what your answer was, and I got to say, you knocked it out of the park. That was great.
Oh, cool. I'm glad I'm being tested on this podcast about made-up houses.
I pull off a thing that's over a fantasy house poster. I pull it off, and then underneath it says the test podcast.
I'm like, wait, what?
There's no such thing as fantasy house. It's a test podcast. Is there a backyard since since this thing is so mobile?
Yeah, they'll be its own. They'll have its own yard area for sure, and will be extendable and retractable. Meaning, if I wanted to make the yard bigger, it would be able to. I don't know if you've seen the Arizona Stadium where the Cardinals play. They have a when they can pull the whole floor out at once, and it kind of makes the stadium kind of bleed out, and then be a lot bigger on the surface, and they can put sand and whatever in there. I would have something like that.
It's crazy the technology that goes into the stadiums.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from just a opening and shedding roof.
Which was also crazy the first time I saw it. This has a retractable roof.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
That
the
giant
fuck?
thing?
And
The
you
shit we
watch it
solve
go,
for sports viewing, I'm like, we could really solve a lot of world problems, because if they can do that for sports viewing.
Well, now you're getting into Simpsons Dome territory.
Simpsons, the movie?
Yeah.
The Simpsons Dome, that's right.
Yeah.
That is
We don't want to
correct.
start doming people off, guy.
No, as we say where I come from, doming is dumb. So don't dome, bro.
So you come from Sedona, where doming is dumb?
Don't dome me, bro.
Don't dome me, bro. Don't go to my dome with your dome.
What's in the backyard that's retractable or that's scalable?
Look, I'd want to be able to play badminton.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I like to ding around the old shuttlecock every once in a while.
I've heard. That's what people are saying.
I'm sure. And room, if we did have kids, or if my brother's kids were there, or whatever, I'd just enough room to play and feel like you weren't confined to a floating house. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it would be, it would open up to be the size of a baseball diamond. I would want to be able to play some pickup games
Yeah.
of baseball. I would
wow.
also want to have some sort of a basketball court. I would want to have, you know what I mean? All the essential sports things I would want. Like I'd want a batting cage. And then for kicks, I'm sure we could just have our own driving range. We would just need an unlimited amount of balls
Oh, yeah.
to whack out into the ocean and go crazy.
Oh, dude. I've never done that, but it always looks cool when you see it in movies. You're like, so what? Does someone go grab the balls? Like, no, you just
Yep,
whack them out of the ocean.
They're gone. And then you hope they don't go into a whale's blowhole.
That's right. Oh my God, that would be a hole in one right there.
That's a Seinfeld episode.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I love Seinfeld. I just didn't know that episode.
Yeah.
There's so many Seinfeld episodes. Sometimes you just can't keep up.
9 seasons.
9 seasons. I feel like I know all the Curb episodes, but I don't know.
There
all the
was are there 9 seasons of Curb?
There's like 10 seasons of Curb, but I think there's
Oh,
more
well,
episodes of
each
Seinfeld.
season is like 6 episodes, though.
Yeah, that's like 10. Seinfeld's what, 15 to 25?
Yeah, like 22, I think.
How crazy is that?
NYPD Blue was on for 12 seasons. Every season was 22
It's
episodes.
insane. It's like,
Oh, my
it's
God.
like 300 episodes, 250 episodes.
That's crazy. I can't do math.
It's
but
insane. It's crazy that you can't do math. Will you have a mathematician on board of your fantasy house?
Nope, won't need one.
Well, where else should we go? You want to show me the master bedroom? Do you have
Master
any other-
bedroom would be it would be underwater, basically.
Just like the UFO thing that you like.
Yeah. It would be under in the sense that even if we were on land, because we would be raised up, it would be kind of like hanging under the main house.
Yeah.
So that we'd get the best view from the bedroom. I think just because that's probably where we do a lot of our relaxing and hanging out, and we
In the nutsack of the house.
yeah
Just hanging.
just hanging there like a couple of balls, dude. Loving it.
Your friend's fantasy house is a finger that flicks. Like, stay away from my master bedroom, dude. Your house hops.
I don't want you living next to me. Doesn't matter. We can connect these at sea too.
Bro, it's a fantasy house community. Gonna get flicked. That's kind of cool though that it's like it's I'm assuming a very 360 view because it's hanging down.
I mean, it wouldn't rotate or anything like that.
Sure,
I mean,
of course not. No, I wouldn't.
but the bedroom would be open where you would have, half of it would be glassed.
Yeah.
And then there'd be a private area. And then the shower, I mean, again, I would want to shower and look out at the ocean, like underwater would be cool.
That'd be
But also
trip.
like fish would be like, what are you doing, dude? It would be weird.
Is there any feeling like, do you ever go to like an aquarium or you're on a boat and you're like, what if something happens to this glass though? Like we run into something or something smashes into it.
I mean-
and then you're just underwater. It's like so much pressure and so much non-air,
Like, I don't know if there's a little documentary called Jaws 3. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
But an amusement park that is almost completely wiped out.
Yep, that was terrifying.
Yeah.
Every time I'm at the Long Beach Aquarium, I'm like, if this thing goes, we all go.
Yeah.
And it's not even anything like the Jaws 3 thing. It's just a little tunnel.
Well, that's
still terrifying.
But yeah, I in my fantasy, we don't have that issue. But yes, that would be a very real issue. I would think that like you don't want to smash into rocks and and anything and the thing doesn't really submerge. My house would submerge. If I wanted to go all the way underwater, we would have that capability. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we would be able to live at, say, the bottom of the ocean if we wanted to.
That's rad. That you
Yeah.
could just go deep underwater.
Yeah. I mean, we ideally, but again, it's kind of about just experiencing all of that kind of stuff. Like, ideally, this thing could launch and go land on the moon, so that we could just live on the moon for a couple weeks because it probably not a whole lot going on. But if you could just be looking at the moon straight up for that would just be fascinating to me. It would
Dude, I
be
agree.
crazy. It would be
I
crazy.
agree.
And eventually we learn how we launched from the moon to, Mars and we move on from there. But it'd be interesting to be alive in like a million years,
So your house not only can float on water and land and go underwater, but you're like, let's go to the moon. And then you're like,
It can go to space. And again, not super quick, but that's not the
not the
point.
point,
That's
no.
not the point. The point is we're going there. We're going to enjoy the stars and well, we wouldn't see stars necessarily because they're probably a lot farther away than the moon, but we would see, we would enjoy going through the atmosphere out of looking back at the earth. You know what I mean? You'd enjoy that part of it. It would be part of the journey.
And would you have a kitchen in it, like a regular kitchen?
Yeah, regular kitchen. I mean, me and my wife we cook our own kind of random shit, and we would be able to make our own food. It would be kind of also nice to have a private chef. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Just kind of able to get the food we want all the time and continue to eat healthy. It's harder to eat healthy when you're doing it on your own.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're me and you're a lazy piece of shit who just like, what? I could make that, or I could put peanut butter on a tortilla and eat 6 of these. You know?
And just carb out and sugar it out.
Yeah,
Totally.
But so having somebody like a nutritionist and because I'd also want to grow my own food. I'd want that part of the yard is going to be blocked off for farming, growing food, growing weed. You know what I mean? Making beer. It would be all the stuff like would probably be distilling vodka, all the stuff that I like to growing heroin. No, I'm kidding.
It just keeps getting worse and worse.
Just cocaine trees. I think it's the coca leaf. Cocaine trees.
They're cocaine
trees. No, but literally, just I'd want to grow enough weed to like be able to live with and smoke and have fun with, and then enough beer to have a couple beers every once in a while. It doesn't have to. It's not an extravagant amount. It's nothing crazy. I just enjoy having a beer every now and then.
That's good.
Yeah.
You should enjoy having a beer if you like beer.
Yeah, I do like beer, man.
You know, it's like this. My grandpa always said, a man's got to be able to sit back and have a beer and eat a bowl of tapioca pudding. And
that was a grandpa saying, was it? I will say, I fucking do love tapioca pudding. So maybe I'll have a tapioca pudding dispenser. I would definitely have a milkshake. Like a root beer float maker. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like real good. But it would be because of who I am. It would be like a non-dairy milkshake type deal. Like I couldn't do straight up milkshakes because I would then be shitting out bowling balls.
Painful, cramping.
So painful, dude.
Yeah.
So painful. So
I definitely love the milkshake idea.
yeah, but but you know, you can get those whatever the substitutes are. Almond milk, all that shit works just fine. So just a shake machine in general, and then root beer floats. When I did want ice cream, put some real ice cream into a root beer float.
Dude, my wife loves root beer floats, and she's gotten me into them lately because she's ordered them a couple times.
Yeah. So your wife has a heart that beats more than once a year.
Oh yeah, that
that's
girl
great.
knows.
She's a human.
She's a human.
It's a root beer float, dude. Everyone should love them.
I never disliked them. I just recently really started getting into them where I was like, you know what I want? I want a root beer float.
Yeah, I always say I want one, and then we go to an ice cream place, and I'm like, ooh, or I could get a waffle cone stuffed full of, and I get something.
Do you ever just get both and then just feel like death afterwards?
Oh, dude. Yeah, of course. Yeah. My biggest fear when I was younger would be that I wasn't going to get enough food. Like whenever I would order at a restaurant, whatever, I'd be at a friend's house, my fear was that I wasn't going to be full. That never, ever, ever, ever happened.
No.
Like I was never like, I'm starving. It was like, I ate way too much.
Stuffed.
I ate 6 pizzas. I didn't need that. I ate like a milkshake, a root beer float, a pint of ice cream. Like,
I already had a bunch of cookies.
Dude, I'm going to
today.
probably have more of those.
And we're going to have more after we finish.
Yeah.
Don't worry, listeners. We will finish this fantasy
It's
house,
a cookie party.
but we'll have a cookie break afterwards.
But I also want people to go look this thing up online and check it out when they can, because I'm just so fascinated by
Which
it.
one?
The jet capsule and the way.
Give them the URL again real quick.
The jet capsule is just jet capsule on Instagram, like at jet JET. I think capsule is CAPSOULE or something like that is how it's spelled.
Capsule, they spell it weird.
It's like Italian.
If you Google, it's Italian. It's Italian, huh?
Hey, we're making underwater living dwellings over here.
That's right. That's a spicy dwelling. It's a spicy little house. So what's the kitchen look like? Describe it to me visually. I want
Kitchen
to know,
would be
countertops, flooring, lighting.
Countertops. I would defer to my wife, but I know what she doesn't like at this point, which is our kitchen. So it would be
The opposite of that?
it would be like a smooth, maybe like a granite, or maybe that's too porous, but like something smooth, easily wiped down, nothing too
Granite's
crazy.
easy to clean, yeah,
Okay,
granite's
then
good.
so granite's nice, something sturdy, you know, a real nice stove. Heats up. Like we have a real shitty kitchen right now, so like I would want a giant fridge. Like I don't want to ever have to worry about finding room for something in a refrigerator ever again, which sounds stupid because we never have any food, but we like always have to find room for other shit, and it's just like we need more space
In the modern world, totally. If you go into like luxury houses, what do they have in their kitchen? Giant fridges
that do like your taxes and have like a window screen where you can look inside. Like
Or-
we would have the one where you could look in the window to turn the light on out from the outside and look in and see. I guess I don't want anything, and then you never have to open
without bothering letting out any cold air. Yeah, that's perfect.
And so it would be like nice big stovetop that my wife could work with, and it wouldn't be getting in the way of other things. And
What kind of
like,
range? Like gas?
I would probably not do gas. I would probably, just because we're in the water, and I would probably do some sort of electric.
Okay.
Yeah, because it works just as good to me. I mean, open flame is fine, but like, I probably wouldn't want open flame on this this fucking
Yeah, it's a
house.
safety thing, and one less safety hazard to worry about.
And then
less
just
gas.
something else. I don't have to worry about gas lines and all that. You know, it's just like we have a generator that would run on that generator or its own battery.
What is like those granite countertops? Which I think marble is more porous, which stains easier.
Yeah, no,
But
I don't want that.
Granite you can keep pretty clean. It's
Yeah,
pretty fun to,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fun to clean granite.
Just thick, sturdy.
What color?
Smooth. I'd go with like a gray.
Okay.
You know, just like a lighter gray.
And then what color are the actual cabinet faces?
The cabinets, again, I would have to talk to my wife about that. But it's funny how many opinions I've lost about things that I might have opinions of since I've been married.
it's called compromising, doing what your wife wants.
But I know. Actually, that's funny. I have my next album is called Compromised Maturity, and it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, there's a huge chunk of it about compromises that I make with my wife, that is just her just demanding things and me going, oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I would go again. I would go fairly simple. I wouldn't do anything elaborate. So if the countertops were like a light gray, I would do maybe like a dark gray cabinet.
Okay.
I hope gray doesn't like bum people out. I really like gray as a color.
It's actually a very hip color right now.
And it's just simple. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother my eyes at all. It's just very easygoing.
It's very neutral. It's great.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can add whatever theme, like if you want some sort of theme color to go with it, you can like add a little complementary color to it if you want, and it looks.
So it could be like a light gray with a tinge of blue or something.
Or what I mean is you can have like a gray countertops, light gray, then dark cabinetry, and then you can have like funky backsplash behind it that has color on it.
Ah, gotcha.
Or like
gotcha.
really colorful, like a lot of flowers that are very tropical and colorful. So you can, and it stands out. It pops more with the gray. So So I'm just saying you're not a total. It's not depressing.
Yeah, no, I mean it's supposed to just be easy going on the eyes and everything.
Yeah. Easy on the eyes.
Easy on the eyes.
Just like Jon Huck himself,
Just
ladies and
like
gentlemen.
me. My house will be one big me.
Is there like a dining area in that kitchen, or?
Yeah, I personally like a dining area. We tend to eat a lot in front of the TV.
Yeah.
I've always tried to kind of, I shouldn't say always. A lot of times I try to push us towards the table, and it always fails. I'm like, hey, we could sit down and eat here. And she's like, what? Why? I'm like, I don't know.
They do in movies?
But
I don't know.
I saw it once on the TV show. But I like the idea of sitting down and being able to talk without having to like stare at a TV or whatever.
You really taste your food better.
Taste your food better. You just
Company.
You're listening to each other. I don't know. I enjoy it. So
I'm with you. Me too.
So there would be a dining area. It wouldn't be elaborate. Probably like maybe a wood table. A couple chairs. Just real simple. No big deal. I would like it to be maybe glass bottomed, or at least underwater. So
Underwater kitchen, dining room? No,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, the dining room for sure. I think the kitchen might be up just to make things easier.
Okay.
And then the dining room would be down so that you could dine and like have the option of maybe the bottom half is bedroom and dining room. If
Okay.
that's not too weird, but
No, you can be weird. It's your house.
Yeah, I mean, also I'm living under the sea like SpongeBob SquarePants. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I think it would be nice to be able to eat and like, especially not if you're having seafood. It would get a little awkward.
Just having a
Fish
couple
coming by like,
scallops.
oh my God, it's Larry! It's Larry!
Oh, it's so brutal. So brutal. God, nature is so fucking.
But again,
mean.
it would be also we'd be eating a lot of vegetables because we'd be growing our own stuff.
Yeah.
But we would be fishing too. I do like fish.
Yeah, I love
Not
fish as
gonna lie.
well. Sashimi every day. Sorry, salmon. I'm gonna follow you around the globe.
Sorry, salmon.
Sorry, salmon. I'm following you around the globe. Where else should we go? What's another? Is there anything else that we need to see while I'm here?
Let me see. What else would I want to show you? Show me a projection room out of the bedroom. The guest room would be nice. I think the guest room would be upstairs, though.
Yeah.
Not underwater. But I think the guest room would be everything the guest would need. It'd have its own bathroom. It'd have its own bed. Obviously, it would have its own bed, but like,
Thank you.
And then like almost a living room situation. Like we could have long-term guests, and it wouldn't feel like they were intruding on us or our space. Probably a little kitchenette or whatever.
What does it look like in there?
I can't
Like if you're showing it to me right now, like what am I looking at? Like
you ever been in a comfort suites?
Yeah.
Okay, kind of something like that, where it would be with a view of the ocean and glass wall
Yeah.
with the option of curtains,
Like
and
a middle management on a business trip to a very nice place, though.
a place that is going to give you free breakfast that you can't complain about and give you a nice, comfortable bed to sleep in.
It's not
And
the best bacon you ever had, but it was free.
It's definitely not the worst, I'll tell you that.
Someone made an omelet for you. Shut up and eat it.
If I will purposely stay at Comfort Suites if I have a choice. Do you know what I mean? So like there's that idea that the guests could have a kitchenette and a bedroom and an office and maybe at their own little backyard or whatever, just to feel like they're on their own. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Where else? Anywhere else we should go before I jump in one of your little pods? And
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, there is really, the fun of it would be, you could be outside running around, you could be on the water jet skiing, we could be up in the mountains, we could be, the fun of it would be, you wouldn't, as nice as it would be to be inside the house, and it would be contained, and it would be weatherproof, and it would be all the things you would need to live on the ocean and then at the top of Everest. Or on the moon, you know what I mean? It would have all that, but at the same time, the idea of going to those places is that ideally you can get out and explore and wander around.
I feel that. I mean, would you say like your house is more of a vehicle than the actual destination itself?
It's a vehicle for sure. Yeah. It's a vehicle, but at the same time, it's a vehicle that when you're in, you feel like you've already arrived, so you can enjoy your time on the journey, doing the things that you also have the comforts of home. I mean, that can be the rough part about traveling, is just the things you don't have when you're on the road. Even if it's as simple as like your favorite blanket when you're, trying to take a nap, or just your wife being there, or your family being around, or a pet, or whatever. You would have that with you on this journey all the time. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's great. It's a very sentimental house, John.
I'm a giant dork.
You're a giant dork. .com. I'm a giantdork.com, which will have links to the
I'm sure that's already a website, too.
Oh, for sure. There's no URLs left, right?
No, they're all taken.
You could probably look up there's no URLs left.com and you're like, someone bought it.
Someone's got it. Someone's got it.
Where can these fine listeners find you?
They can find me online. I'm on Twitter at Jon Huck, JONHUCK. I'm on Instagram at JON_HUCK. My website is Jon Huck, JONHUCK.me, M-E. I have...
Because someone already had the .com or what?
No, because the .com was more money.
Oh, okay.
And actually, there is a photographer who I know named Jon Huck, and he might have had it at the time. I don't know. That. He had the Twitter handle, and then he got off Twitter, so I grabbed it.
Yeah.
But that was years ago, But yeah, he's a photographer and an artist, and I've met him. We've hung out a little bit, so it's kind of funny. But
you met your name match?
Yeah, he actually called me to invite me to a party where there was going to be a third Jon Huck, and I was
Are you serious?
And I was unfortunately going to be out of town. He's like, "Hey man, I have this other party where another Jon Huck comes, and there's two of us." And I'm like, "Whoa!" And I've shown up on set to do a commercial or whatever, and have like wardrobe stylists. They've been like, "Oh, you're Jon Huck," and I'd be like, "What?" Yeah. And they go, "Oh, okay. I dated a guy named Jon Huck, or I know another guy named," and I'm like, and I thought that was you, and I was like, "What?" Because I've had people go, "Oh yeah, my friend says that you guys had sex," and I was like, "What's that? Who's your friend?" Like, I mean,
first of all, I don't have sex. Second of all,
no, but even before I was married was like not all the time.
Yeah,
and I always remembered who, you know what I mean. Yeah. I didn't sleep with so many women that I was like, I lost track.
You're like a blackout drunk stud.
No. Oh, God, no. God,
you don't actually have a fantasy house you're pulling up in. No. I mean, folks.
No, but I mean, I did. But this girl was like, "Oh no, my friend said she slept with you," and I was like, "No, I don't think that. Who's your friend?" And I'm like, "Show your friend my picture."
Yeah, show me the video of us having sex.
And then she showed the picture, and she was like, "Oh God, who? What? That's not the guy."
No, I didn't have sex. She's like screaming.
She's like, "How dare you? Get this out of here."
Listen, if our listeners are listening, I bet Jon Sex is Jon Sex. I bet Jon Huck. I bet
that
Jon Huck
should be my stage name.
Jon Sex.
Give it up for this next comic, Jon Sex.
Jon Sex.
And then talk nothing about sex or my name or ever mention it.
I reserved a hotel room so people wouldn't know it was me. It's under Jon Sex.
Don't ask for Jon Huck. Ask for Jon Sex. Also whisper it.
When I take my mom out, my mom's out of town. When she comes back to town we're doing a belated Mother's Day thing, and I think it would really be fun to put our name in at the Cheesecake Factory under Jon Sex.
Yep. And then when they call your name, Jon Sex, Jon
Dude,
Sex,
my mom will be like, what?
or maybe just do sex, do sex,
Do sex?
Isn't that how you say it? Are you gonna do sex later?
Are you guys down to Fantasy House listeners? Are you guys down to do some sex?
Does anyone want to do sex?
That's my other podcast, Fantasy Sex Doing. What's your
it's
idea
not
of
about
doing
the
them?
people you're with. It's just about like hats you'd wear.
Yeah. What kind of hat?
Well, if you could wear any hat when you were sleeping with somebody.
Listen, guys, I wanted to do a podcast where I interview people, but all the topics were already taken. I had to get creative.
This is what we came up with.
This podcast is about asking, what kind of headgear do you wear during sex?
Now, or what's your fantasy hat? Like, would you wear like a Kentucky Derby hat with a feather in it? Would you wear...
Getting guests, taking the time to book guests so that they can come sit down and tell me what kind of fantasy hat they would wear. Be like, thank you so much for coming out. Where can my listeners find you?
And then they're like, I prefer your listeners don't find me. I'd prefer nobody found
What
me
if there's
after
a huge
this.
niche on the internet of people that are like, I'm really into like just different hats and no one ever talks about it. And finally, this guy started a podcast about it.
Thank God 7 people are really, it's their favorite podcast ever.
Oh, God. I used to listen to this one guy, but then he started talking about the flex fits, and I was like,
No,
"Ugh."
flex fits.
And I finally found another guy.
Fitted hats or fedoras or straw hats.
You know, I always say, if the hat ain't fitted, I'm about to throw a fit. How you doing?
Yeah.
Folks, it's been a great episode. Thanks for having us at your fantasy house.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been a blast.
Oh, well, I hope that was okay for everybody.
Oh, dude. Well, what a gracious host. Thank you for having us. You're like shaking his hand as you're hopping on the boat to drive away from his house. And he's like, I hope that was all right. Like,
I'm waving like, hey, I hope you guys had fun.
yeah. Dude, I just took a dump while looking at a great white. Like, it was an amazing experience.
That's ideally people leave going, wow, man, that was cool.
It was good. No, it was a great time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, buddy.
Blessed guest. And check out Jon. And you're going to have an album coming out soon.
Yeah, I have an album. It's going to be called Compromised Maturity coming out. I don't have any release dates for it yet. You can buy my first album on iTunes and or Amazon, and it's titled Fantasticular Hilaritation.
Ah, Fantasticular Hilaritation.
Yeah.
That's great.
2 made-up words that I probably should not have used as an album title that no one can find.
I think you made the right choice. Look it up. It's on Amazon. Guys, and if you get a policy from Joe Erle at C3 Risk and Insurance, you get $25 to Amazon. You can use that money to buy Jon Huck's album. I mean, is that like not perfect?
That's perfect.
It's perfect.
I'd also like to plug a web series I'm in.
Oh, do it.
It's called My Death Co.
Oh, yeah.
I play a Grim Reaper who has a man who kills himself in life only to wake up in the afterlife with a job he's no good at, which is in the Reaper division, and he's having to help people transition into the afterlife. So, yeah, check that out. It's on YouTube, or you can go to the website mydeathco.com.
Dude, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor. It would mean the world to me if you click the review button, give me a review, 5-star review if you like, or whatever number you want. You know, that's up to you. But just write a review and post it on iTunes. It would mean so much to me.
You're a piece of shit if you give anything. Hang on. You're a piece of shit if you give any podcast less than a 5-star review. I mean, it's if you're gonna take the time to go online to give a 3.5. I didn't like the way he said 2 things, and then one guest rubbed me the wrong way. You either give it a full on. I know, but those people are fucking assholes. You either give it a full on 5-star. God, this is a great podcast. If you're gonna take the time to go online, pump it up.
Yep.
If you're not going to pump it up, then just don't listen to it anymore and don't give it your fucking time.
Now, don't give me a 3-star review because you're angry at Jon Huck right now.
I wasn't even trying to get on the show with this. I'm just talking.
I'm just teasing. No, guys, give us a 5-star review or you're dead to me. And no, honestly, though, do it after you have your coffee, after you smoke a joint, after you drink a shot of whiskey, after you've made love, after you just had the best breakfast omelet of all
what
time.
What kind of mornings are you having here, dude?
This isn't me. I'm saying for our guests.
Who gets up and does all this before they do anything else?
That's what some people do for their morning routine. It's
would
very
be a
healthy.
Sweet morning routine.
It's very healthy to have a morning ritual and a morning routine, a miracle morning. And if that's part of it, give me a review after you're in a good mood. You know, don't do it when you're in a bad mood. All right, you guys. I hope you have a great day and kisses.